Hello there. Today I've got some farmhouse tabletop decor DIYs I can't wait to share with you. I'm Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and let's jump in to the craft room. Now, I have some spring release goodies that I haven't gotten to, so we're going to start out this first DIY with one of the molds from IOD. It's called Conservatory Labels. I get all of my IOD and DIY products from miltonstarter.com. There's a link, a code in the description below for each one of the goodies I use today. And this is one of the new features off of their spring release. They actually put the names of them on the sides so you could line up all your molds now. And what I'm going to do different is this is my first time using resin. Now I got this amazing resin off of Amazon. I've seen many creators use it and I wanted to try it, and I'm telling you, this is now my new happy medium because it is not as messy. And I mean, the clay is great for a lot of different textures if you want it to be cracked and old and, to look like it's had a rough life, even though, we're making its life rough. But the resin here was super easy to mix. It's equal parts A and B. Make sure you wear gloves because, I read the box, but I was being bad. So don't do as I say, not as I do. Because that's, how I grew up is don't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So again, as an adult, do as I say, not as I do. Wear gloves because apparently there's a chemical reaction and, whatnot and who's it and all that. And you're not supposed to do that stuff. But anywho, if you know more about resin, feel free to add your knowledge and suggestions below. This is an amazing resin. It takes 10 minutes to set. So, well, actually it's 10 minutes and you can pull it out of the mold. It's still pliable, which I'm going to show you here. I'm going to pull all these out. So this is about a little bit more than 10 minutes because it got lost in my phone, because you guys know how that goes, right? I got lost in my phone. So you take these pieces out and they're solid. They're nice. They're still pliable. So I'm going to show you in a second here. This is very neat and clean and tidy, and I love every second of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still going to use the air dry clay, but we're probably going to use a lot of resin going forward. So here I'm taking, this is it's either a pickle jar, pickle relish or something. This is a jar from the kitchen. And because the resin isn't completely done yet, you can actually mold it to the surface. Now you have to do this right when you take it out of the mold. After it completely cures, you will not be able to bend it. It becomes a solid piece. So in the beginning, while they're still pliable, you can put these on curved surfaces, or they're still very malleable. They're still very, shape them, do as you will with them. So I put some Titebond Quick and Thick on there. I got some painter's tape and I just taped it onto my jar, and I let it sit this way to cure the rest of the time it needed. I think I came back to it the next day here, and basically it is now part of this jar. It's the perfect curve. You hear the Quick and Thick kind of squished out a little bit on the sides. So just kind of clean up the edges. I wiped off the jar. And now with this cute little kitchen recycle project, I'm going to take some of my Debbie's DIY paint in the color beadboard. Also, again, I mentioned Milton's Daughter. It's an awesome website to get goodies from. It's a clay-based paint, so I love the way it takes very little cover, very little, like maybe one coat. It's a thicker paint. And we will need to seal this pretty girl, but you'll see what I do. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to coat the whole thing in white. These labels are super cute for the type of look you're going for. And I kind of don't even really have a style, you guys. I say farmhouse, I say cottage. I just do what makes me happy. I don't really know how to label it. I don't have a design degree. I just know what makes my crafty heart happy, So if it makes you happy, then you're doing it right. So here I wasn't really happy with the streaking, so I took a chip brush and I'm just taking the paint. Well, this paint is not dry yet. Now, the DIY paint does dry quickly. And normally on most surfaces, I only need to do one coat. Now, I didn't like the brush strokes that I was seeing in this. So I took the chip brush and I'm just basically dabbing. You can see here, this is a stippling motion and it looked like stucco. I love the way that looked. So I just did that all over the jar here. And again, this paint is wet. And once I was done covering the whole jar with that texture look, I let it sit and here she is dry. And I love the way it looked. And again, that's just one coat, and then I use the chip brush to give it a little bit of texture. Now, we need to seal this paint because it's clay-based and it will reactivate with water, so we're going to do so with a combination of clear wax and dark wax. We're going to put the clear wax on it first. Now, you can seal this with a top coat of any kind. There is a liquid patina. There's a top coat that DIY sells. You could also use Mod Podge or even polyacrylic. I'm using the wax on this one. So the clear wax is in order for me to be able to control this dark wax. If you were to just go straight in with the dark wax, you're not going to be able to move it around like you want to. It's going to get into all of it and it's going to absorb it. And it might be a little bit too dark. So when the clear wax is underneath it, it gives you the ability to put the dark wax in the way you want it to. So it gives you the control over it. I wanted more of the shadowing and all of the flavor I say flavor. I want all the flavorings to be around the label. Basically, I just want it to look pretty. So I want it to look aged. I want it to look old. So I concentrated more on the front, and then I realized, yeah, the back here is a little neglected. Everything I make, I tend to always say, oh, it's a centerpiece. So let's make sure every angle of this looks good. And then you know what happens? I put it on a shelf or a wall or up against a wall or up against something else. But that's usually how I try to make everything, because I don't know what purpose it's going to serve. I don't know if I'm going to give it away, if I'm going to sell it, if I'm going to keep it for 2 months, 10 years, then get rid of it. Who knows? So I try to make it look like it's going to be a centerpiece, so it's pretty from all angles. Now, I put a piece of styrofoam in here, and it's put in with hot glue. Hot glue and glass kind of don't mix, but we're going to load it up within the flowers on top that it won't matter. It's not going to pop out. And you know I have to put some buffalo check on it because this is what makes me happy. It is so pretty. I love it. Now, this is an old Halloween ribbon from Dollar Tree. Or it might have been Michael's. I think that was Dollar Tree. But anyways, I can't say no to buffalo check. It's where my... Man, it just makes me happy. So again, you're still going to see that from me. If it's out, it's out. I still love it. Now, I tied just a little bit of jute cord around that, and then I'm just going to top it with a little bit of Spanish moss. And now we're going to add our flowers. So this is a little greenery bundle I had from Michael's. I've got some leftover picks. I got some Michael's tulips, and then I also have some Amazon baby's breath. So with a combination of all kinds of gobbledygook, we're just going to take off some tags, cut some stems a little short, and just pop them in there however they make you happy. This is where I shine. I love arranging. I love putting florals together. I love just popping all these in. It's even more fun when you don't use glue, because you can then pull them out and change them later, or even as you're messing around making your arrangement. If that's, maybe you're not so strong, if this isn't as easy for you, don't use glue at first. Because again, styrofoam is easy to replace. You can get chunks of it from Dollar Tree for $1.25. But also, it gives you a chance to see how you are and what you need to do. If you need to do one thing at a time, like I'm doing, I do the greenery, then I did the tulips, then I'm doing the baby's breath, then do it that way. But then you can glue them in after the fact. I love how it turns out, and I think it's a cute little recycled kitchen jar. I'm pretty sure, I think there was pickle. That's pretty big for pickle relish. I don't know what that was. But in any event, I saved a jar out of the kitchen, and then I put a label on it. It's so cute. It's so country. It's so... You know, this is something I would see in my grandma's house. My grandma did all kinds of wonderful stuff. She'd save bottles and glasses and then just put like water with food coloring in it with a cork on top. And then that was part of the decor next to a basket with some eggs, or, you know, it's just, I don't know what to call it. Just, I call it happy, and I call it a good memory, and it gives you that good fuzzy crafty feeling, you know, squishiness. So you tell me what you think. I love this cute little First for Projects, nice little recycling doodad that I think anybody can, you know, put your spin on it, put your colors on it, and let me know how you like it. Now, our second project, and this is a cute little wooden crate here from Dollar Tree. These are very common. You've probably seen them many times if you are a fan or a follower of the Dollar Tree DIYs. Now I'm going to use my favorite wood tent here. It's not a stain, it's a tent. It is water-based, it does not stink, and it is basically also very easy to clean up, but it is a gorgeous color, this walnut color. It's by Folk Art. If you want to get a bottle for yourself, you can take a peek in my Amazon shop. It is in the link below, or there's a link in the description in the first pinned comment. I love this wood tent. I use it a lot, and I will continue to use it going forward. It makes me happy. Now, I wood tent, got the little crate done. We're going to put another one of our cute little resin labels on the front here. So I'm just got my crate. See, she's all dry and cute and pretty. Now I'm going to pick out a label. This, you guys, with the magic of editing, I mean, I'm serious. If I didn't edit this down or speed this up, you guys would be with me for like 6 hours. Now, I know a lot of you have given me the wonderful compliment to say that you would love to spend that much time with me. And that literally makes my heart happy. And it makes me happy, makes me proud. But we can't upload a 6-hour video to YouTube. It's, yeah. I get a lot of the, oh, you talk too much. My question is, why does it matter? It's a DIY video, but it's okay. Beside the point. In any event, I went forward and we're going to pick a label. So with that long description, because that was really needed, I'm now going to use Gypsy Green from DIY Paint. This is also, get these paints from miltonsdaughter.com. They dry, look how quickly that dried. That's one coat. I am going to go in with a second coat because this little label I chose had a decent amount of lots of little, you know, intricate work and fillings in there in the middle there. And then here's what it is when it dries. Look how pretty it is. So again, that resin is paintable. Now we are going to need to seal this because it's again, the DIY paint does not have a top coat and you do have to put a sealer on it. So, but first we have to attach it to our crate. So we're going to do the same the same as before. And I'm going to use these, it's a Titebond Quick and Thick. It's a multi-surface glue. Titebond's mostly wood glue. So it's a multi-surface, so wood, glass, those types of things. Put a clamp on it, let it sit overnight. And then I came back to her and here she is. Now, she's ready to be sealed. I think that's what I'm going to do first. I can't remember. Come on, Whitney. Yep. We're going to take the DIY, I believe I used white wax. Yes, I put white wax on here because I wanted it to get into all of those cute little, intricate little filigree, scrolly looking doodads that's on in this label. This label had a lot of good little details. Now, at first you see me going pretty light. And again, I have DIY white wax off to the side. I don't know why I didn't show you guys in the camera. I get clear, dark, and white wax from the DIY wax thing. So here I'm showing you how heavy I went on it. And we're going to take a paper towel and we're just going to wipe it off. So the highest parts of the surface that we're making will show that pretty green color. Now that gypsy green is really close to that Spanish moss color I love from folk art. And it's, again, one of my new favorite greens. Also, the DIY paints are very easy to distress with water. You can do like what they call wet distressing and then seal it. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So after we coat our entire crate, except the inside because we're going to be gluing in there, we're going to use these cute little peat pots. I got these off of Amazon. You can get them at any of your local stores. You might even still have some if you're a gardener. These are cute little actual gardening pots. So I have a lot of them. So you may see them in the future. I think I might start doing some vegetables. I'm not sure. But anywho, I'm going to take these and I'm going to put some styrofoam inside. So I'm just cutting this down, making it all fit, making a nice little mess, then cleaning that up. And now we're going to glue in our styrofoam. And then we're going to cover the tops of that with some just regular old Spanish moss. I get my bigger bag here of Spanish moss. This one I get at Hobby Lobby. If you see me use a brighter green, it's a chartreuse color. I get that from Amazon because I haven't seen the chartreuse, the bright green at Hobby Lobby for a year or two now. But I love using Spanish moss. It's very messy, but it's very effective and it's very cozy and very country, just very natural. It's real. It's what it is. It's actual moss. That's why, I've been informed by many of you. That's why I find sticks in it all the time. It's like, why are there sticks in this? I'm like, please excuse me. I live in the desert. I do not know what actual real moss is. I have never seen this except for in a bag for purchase in a store. So I have lived a sheltered life in the desert I live in. So again, thank you for everyone who helps me and gives me the information of what life is like outside of the desert. Appreciate all of you. Now, I thought the pots didn't mesh in too well, so I kind of just added some white wax. Now, I should have done this before I glued them in, so it kind of is like there's like a border there, and it was like, meh. But I got it to where I'm happy. Everything doesn't have to be an even coat of goodies. Now, back to our goodies here. This is also from an old bundle. I went into my stash. I had a bundle of flowers. We're going to do the same premise as we did on our cute little recycle jar. And I've got some white tulips I'm going to mix in this time with the orange tulips from Michael's. And then again, this baby's breath from Amazon has become my absolute favorite. So this is what it looks like when you get it. And then, of course, I've opened it all up, but we're going to cut it apart and add it into our little peat pots. So now we are going to just, again, make my crafty heart happy. And I'm going to just do little arrangements. I love to do this. It just makes me happy. That's why if I could do this for a living and just sell arrangements, I would be the happiest little crafter. This just makes me so happy. Like, you tell me the colors you want, you tell me your theme, you tell me what you want it to look like, and I will create with an open mind and just try to give you what you need. I would love to do this. It would be a dream. So for now, I just do these things for me, little small goodies that make me happy, and then I get to share them with you. It just makes me happy. And again, here's the little pieces of baby's breath from Amazon. Now this is a plasticky. It is a plastic little white flower bud, but it's not. It's detailed. It's good enough. It's not like it's too low quality or anything. It's a decent price for a decent amount. And again, there's a link for it in my description if you want to take a look at my Amazon shop. It was a very good buy. I'm very happy. I actually went and bought a second bundle because I've used so much of it since I bought it earlier this year. And look at her. She's so cute. I thought about adding ribbon. And then I felt, no, it doesn't need anything else. Also, you could even tuck a couple little buds or maybe a little baby's breath at the bottom inside the Spanish moss here, where the bottom of the peat pots are inside the little crate. You could add maybe a little, accent to the left or the right. You could also stamp on your label or use, if you have very nice handwriting or penmanship, you could use a permanent marker or calligraphy, something like that. It's a tiny label. I do have some smaller stamps, but I didn't want to put too much on here. And if you do that, make sure you do it before you put the wax on it. But tell me what you think. This turned out to be another cute little tabletop doodad that just, you pop that right on a little table, make it happy. So now our third project, this one was a little bit of a miss for me. Now I got this birdhouse here at Michael's a couple years ago on some crazy 90% off sale. So I paid, as you can see, $9.99 with 90% off. I paid like 90 cents for that. And it's been in my stash for a while. I mean, it might have been 70 or 80% off. It was, I did do a Michael's haul with that in there. So I could probably go back to one of my videos if you guys want to look on my channel. And you can see how much I paid for it. It was a ridiculous amount. It was definitely not $10. So what I'm going to do with this today is I'm going to take my folk art home decor wood tint in the color walnut. And I'm going to do the base and I'm going to do the roof. So the top and the bottom I'm going to stain or put the wood tint on. I am using a flat edge brush as much as I can. It is not perfect. There are some places you can see on the sides where the wood tint did bleed into the base or the middle, but we're all going to paint that. So I'm using my beadboard color that you saw me use earlier on the glass jar. I'm now going to use that on the sides of the birdhouse. So I'm just going to take a nice, only one coat around the whole outside because we're going to put some rub-on transfers on here. So we need a nice white base to make sure that those items pop. You could also decoupage, you could stamp, you could do all kinds of goodies here. So here's what she looks like after she's all dry, everything's said and done. Now you can see some of the paint, you can see some of the wood tint in places it shouldn't be, but just trust the process. We are going to distress it when we're done. Now this is a new rub-on transfer I got from Iron Orchid Designs. I got from Milton's daughter. Lori is a great person. You're going to love her if you take a peek. There is an incentive program for repeat business, by the way. So this is called Collage des Fleurs, or basically collage of flowers. And it gives you a lot of very pretty buds and stems and leaves. And it's just all kinds of florally, all kinds of girly gobbledygook that I love so much. And I'm basically taking some of these buds, I'm cutting them out in pieces, and we are going to apply them to 3 sides of our birdhouse. I chose some larger buds to go on the sides and the top. I was at first going to put one on the very far back of it, but then I was like, no, this would be more tabletop. I can see me making this a piece that goes behind things. So I didn't put one on the very back. I ended up putting it on the roof, and it was really cute. So this is one of the larger buds that I pulled apart that was in our transfer book. So with rub-on transfers, if you're not familiar, you're going to take them, you're going to use the little tool they provide for you, and you're going to burnish them. And I'm not burnish. I mean, what you're going to do is you're going to take the little rub-on tool. It's like a stylus or something, anything hard that you have, and you're going to rub the transfer on. You will see that it releases from the transfer paper. And then actually here I made a mistake, and the piece I cut off I was going to put next to it. I ended up putting it on top of the clear plastic, thinking I'm just going to line it up, and then I don't know what I was thinking. So again, do as I say, not as I do. I kind of messed that one up a little bit, but I was able to save this little tiny flower here, and then I put that at the top. So I've ripped them all apart. I cut them apart. I layer them. Rub-on transfers are very easy, and our Iron Orchids has such good quality. If you've ever gotten them, you'll know they're worth the investment, especially if they're for your home or they're for something that you really, really want to make high quality, or it's for you to keep. It's worth it if it makes your heart happy. So again, these are great quality. And I'm putting one on each side. So again, you see me using the little plastic rub-on transfer tool they give you. Now on the edges here, I did use a sander to get some of those off. And then I'm also using that same burnishing tool. It's not burnishing. It's a stylus, or like a bone. What do you call those things for when you make in card making? Wow, the words are not coming to me today. I'm using that to go into the grooves on the side of the birdhouse so that you can see it kind of gives the transfer a roughed up edge, so it's not a perfect transfer, because we do have divots there. So you put those little lines through it, and it's all jagged and very old and rustic. But again, we're still very clear, painty, but you're going to see what I do in a second. Now this girl here, so gorgeous. This rose, I believe it's a rose. So beautiful. I can almost smell how pretty that would smell if I was there, if I was in someone's garden. That is absolutely beautiful. I can't help it. I just want to look at it. It's so pretty. And so again, I'm just showing you burnishing everything, and Again, you see me rubbing the plastic over the top of it. That is actually burnishing, because for some reason my favorite word today is burnishing when it's not necessarily burnishing. But again, you're just making sure that you have a full contact of the transfer to the surface and it's actually really stuck down. We are going to seal all these. Aside from using DIY paints, you should seal your transfers just to make sure they have a good seal over top of them so that nothing will affect them. So I'm going to use clear wax again. This is one of my go-tos. It does take a couple days to a week to fully cure, but once it does, it's solid. So a lot of these times you're looking at stuff, especially in the pictures or in the studio lights, and I'm doing the short little shots with my camera on my phone. It's not dry. It's probably right after I've finished it. Majority of the time when you see these in these videos, I have done them within the same hour to the same couple days. So a lot of the times the wax is still tacky. You can feel it on your hands. Again, not messy, but once it dries, it's a completely good seal. So I'm putting a clear one on top. I'm putting just a little bit of white on here just to give a dusty look to the stain. And then now we're going in with the dark wax like you saw me do on our jar. Look how it takes the edges. I love what it does to the edges. Now I'm concentrating on the corners, our edges, and then around the cute little, bird stand, the little prong thingy that the birds stand on, the little hole for the birdhouse. And I think it adds the right amount of age to it. I love how it looks. Something about this, I wanted to do something different, but I've had this little wooden house forever. So I was like, okay, we're not going to put real flowers on it because we just covered it with transfer flowers. So let me take this ribbon here. I got this from burlapfabric.com a couple years ago, probably more than a couple years ago. And I'm just going to cut a loop. I'm going to glue it in the middle so I have a circle. And then I'm going to take some of this. This is like a webbing type ribbon I got at Dollar Tree a few years ago in green. And I thought that the colors, I like to pick things that I think at first don't go together because it makes me step outside of my own comfort zone. Like, Whitney, I don't know if I like this. Well, let's just do it, because a lot of times when I'm watching other creators and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't necessarily pick that. When they're done, I love it. So I try to say, look, don't judge it on the shelf. Put it together, see what happens. Now, at first, I added the bow down here on the front, and then I'm stapling it in. I'm making it permanent so that thing ain't coming off. Yeah, nuclear fallout would be the only way to get this off of here. And I'm like, yep, I don't like it. So now we got to go in with pliers and tweezers and pull all these staples out and hopefully not ruin the bow, hopefully not ruin. This is called, I changed my mind. Also, what my mother has taught me is the prerogative of being a woman. I changed my mind. So I changed my mind. And now I decided I need to put this on the top, but I want it to sit up. So I'm going to kind of originally just staple it down inside the bow loop with one staple on each side. But then I'm going to bring the bow forward and put staples in the fabric to pinch it forward. Now you see here, I'm trying to show you where I pushed it forward. And that makes your bow stand up. Now I'm going to cover the back of all that staples and all that behind the scenes with some Spanish moss. We put wax on here, but I'm going to basically glue the Spanish moss to the bow, not the top of the waxed roof of the birdhouse. So that way you can see you're going to have coverage and it won't come off. And I left it at this. But please tell me what you think. I love the wax part of it. I love the placement of the transfers. I'm not sure if maybe I should have put more dark wax in the creases of the where the transfers were kind of jagged. I'm not sure what it is. There's something here that's not quite hitting right where I want it to in my little happy farmhouse heart. I like to say, it's just something that's not blowing my skirt up. Know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean? But I don't know. You tell me what you think. Tell me what your thoughts are, if you do anything different or if you have any ideas or anything you'd even still add to it, even though it's done. But let me know what you think. Okay, now our last little girl here for the video is our fourth DIY. I have this piece of wood. It's pre-cut from the Dollar Tree. They named this wood book, because apparently you can label something new and change the name of it, and it's basically just a rectangle of wood. That's all it is. So it's easy, it's convenient. It was $1.25. You could get better deals if you buy a larger piece of wood, but if you are like me and you have minimal availability to items that actually cut wood, then hey, do what makes you happy. So we're going to take my same favorite wood tent, folk art, home decor in the color walnut, and we're going to do front, back, top, sides, everywhere, all over. Now we're going to cover some of it for our front, but we want to have the entire block to be covered in this beautiful color. Now it dries up a little different, and when you put white wax over this walnut color, it's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. So Now, this is a drop cloth I got off of Amazon. You can get drop cloth anywhere, but it's a nicer, thicker canvas. And then we're going to stamp on it. And I like it specifically because it gives a very grainy look to my stamps. It looks like it's worn and it's weathered. Now, with using the block itself, I'm just basically using the sides and also the ruler on my little cutting mat here to make things straight. But I want to make this so that it's sort of even inside. It has a good border around when we put it on our block. Now we're going to use the new stamp set called Mercantile from Iron Orchids Design. Again, this video is a lot of the spring release that I didn't get to earlier. I love this stamp set. And I'm sticking with you guys. I promise you. I've had some issues, but I'm not stopping. I'm going to be having videos, but they might be far and in between. Some might be closer, but I promise you, you will see this stamp. You will see me using resin. You will see me doing a lot of goodies. I'm not quitting anytime soon. I love doing this stuff. It's taken me a little bit longer to get things done these days, but I'm still here and I'm still happy that you're with me. Now I took the rooster and I took the wheat stalks and I decided to do just some weird pattern that my brain said was, hey, this is cute. Let's do it. So that is why. Like, why did you do that? Because I wanted to. So you tell me, have you ever just, I did it because it makes me happy. Now I'm taking the dark wax and my little dark wax brush and at first I'm only doing the edges. Now, if you saw, because I was jibber jabbering through all that, I took a stylus tool and I kind of pulled off and I made the edges. I pulled off some of the, I frayed the fabric on its edges to make it look a little worn. Now this is a controlled worn, of course. So now here's me adding white wax to the rest of the wood. I like the dusty look of it once it dries and on that walnut color. It's gorgeous to me. Then I'm going back over with some more dark wax. I want it to look aged. I want it to look weathered. Doesn't have to have rhyme or reason. Doesn't have to be even. Now I'm going to take this ribbon. It's a grosgrain ribbon that I got off of Amazon. If you could see, I bought a ridiculously large spool. Don't ask me why, because who knows? Maybe I hadn't had a Snickers that day. I couldn't tell you why I bought a 50-yard roll of ribbon because it's ridiculous to buy that much ribbon, but I did. So I'm going to take it. I'm wrapping it around the bottom. I'm going to staple it. And that gives me a nice little border. I'm going to take a little bit of dark wax to try to darken the bright white in the ribbon. It doesn't get it. It's a hit and miss. It gets some pieces, but again, we're going for a very weathered, dirty look. And now I'm going to take another piece of the ribbon and I'm going to do a finger bow. Now, I didn't slow this down, but I do have a separate video that'll be linked in the description if you want to see my tutorial on a finger bow. It slows it down, gives you details on single, double, and multiple loop finger bows. This is a single loop finger bow, also with one-sided ribbon. So this is what it is. I did not add anything else. I love this piece. For some reason, I think it's my favorite. It might be in competition with the second one with the two little peat pots, because when it comes to spring decor, I love tulips and I love putting the little flowers and the greeneries in them. But for something about the frayed edges of that drop cloth, the bright white on the ribbon, and then the darkness of the wood, I don't know what it is. I love it. This is, again, something I would definitely see in my grandma's kitchen. A lot of my grandma and her style and her talent comes through in a lot of the stuff I do. Chickens and roosters and ducks and farm animals and stuff like that, even though I've never even been on a farm my entire life. It's just something that it just makes me happy. It's just my style. Things that make you happy. You do what makes you happy. Now, that's it for today. We did 4 DIYs. They all had some element of the spring release from IOD. A lot of that stuff is available. I have some inlays, paint inlays, but once those sell out, those won't be usable anymore. So I will be using them in the next video, but they might not be obtainable anymore. But again, the labels, the molds, the rub-on transfers, that's all still there. You guys, let me know what you think of all these 4 pretty girls. It was so much fun to make them and to share them with you. Now, I have a coffee page, so if you like my videos or feel like you've learned something and you want to maybe send a donation and buy me a cup of coffee, there's a link in the description below for you to do that, as well as my DIYs will be for sale there. And with all that said, I love you more than I can possibly say in words. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Many hugs, happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.